This is a shot, folks, of Trevor Lawrence on the game-winning touchdown. And watch, he falls down back there and still gets up and runs in. And as Pete and I noted, we both saw the same thing, folks. And it's probably because we look at games a little different, because just like I said, we put our money where our mouth is with trades. We also played. Pete played for 6 years in the NFL and a couple years in the World League as well. Well, when you watch this, not this particular angle, but there's an all-pro named Chris Jones, who is a great player, but he took the play off. He basically hit into the line. He's a D lineman for Kansas City. He hit into the line, and then he just stood up. If he would have run down the line, he probably could have hit Trevor Lawrence before he got in. But instead, the only guy that could hit him did hit him, but it was at the goal line. It's already a touchdown at that point. Because watch, right? Boom. That guy comes over and hits him. He's already in. I don't know what Chris was doing, Pete. Do you?
No, he stood straight up, John. He hit the gentleman in front of him, and then he walked over towards where Trevor Lawrence was. So pretty embarrassing, because had he used all his energy and slid down the line, he probably had a very good opportunity, because when you look at that play, Trevor Lawrence falls not once but twice, and it's because his right guard stepped on his foot, and it stopped him, and he fell over, and then he got up, fell over again, and then he actually got it into the end zone. So, yeah, it's why you're always supposed to go full tilt, right? When you're playing football and you're on the field, you could be something on the sideline doing whatever, but you're on the field, you're supposed to be running. Chris Jones is going to regret that one, and I'm sure they'll see that when I just saw him out there on the far left or whatever as he stood up and then he just started walking. He started walking, and that could have been the difference in the game. Meanwhile, I think this is the best start that they have ever had as a franchise for Jacksonville, 4-1. Yep. So kudos to Shad. The team is doing well. They got a new coach that people all love, the guy that they picked up from Tampa, John, the offensive coordinator. They're doing a lot of things right. And in this case, it was a pretty damn good game anyway. But, when it comes down to it, somebody has to make the play, and Trevor Lawrence made that play. It was pretty awesome, pretty great.
It was.
Yeah.
Well, what do you got for Red Zone Sports beyond this video, Pete?
All right, John. So here's what I got for you. Who is the best team in the NFL, NFC right now, and AFC? I just picked those two. So you're going to split them up. All right, who's playing at the highest level right now? And one of them will shock you. The first one won't probably, but in the NFC, I'm going to say the Detroit Lions. And why do I say that? Well, they lost their opening game to Green Bay. It was the opening game. And, with preseason and how you do that, sometimes the first game is not really, you're kind of still getting through things. It's the first time you're really going live. You've had preseason games where the starters really didn't play a whole lot. So, I'm not giving them excuses, but they lost to Green Bay. But since then, they put 52 points on the Bears, 38 on the Ravens. They put 34 on the Browns, who's, the best defense in football, allegedly, according to people, and then 37 on the Bengals. So I would say that Detroit is on a roll after going 0-1, and now all of a sudden these last four, they're beating people up. They've got the dual back running game. They've got great receivers. They've got a really great tight end. And obviously you've got a quarterback who had put up some really incredible numbers already in his career and this year, looking pretty good. So with all that being said, I like them, and I'll say, why don't you give your NFC team, and then we'll go to the AFC. How about that?
NFC, I'm going to make it real easy, folks. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Because Baker Mayfield, the guy just does not quit. And Pete, I think he was 28 of 32 this weekend when they beat Seattle, and he's had four game-winning drives, which no one in the NFL has ever done before, Pete. 4 game-winning drives. I don't know if it's 4 in a row, but it might be, Pete. Just incredible. Yeah. And they're a good team on offense. Their defense, a little suspect. They let Tampa score a lot of points, but I'm sorry, they let Seattle score a lot of points. Sorry. So I'd say Tampa Bay. How about on the AFC side, Pete?
Yeah, and I do love my Buccaneers, so I'm right there with you. But Detroit, I just gave them a little bit of a nod. But I'm going to go with the Colts. Yeah, I actually said the Indianapolis Colts. It's unbelievable, John, but people not paying attention right now in the NFL and specifically the AFC. You look at the Colts and you're like, well, but Pete, Daniel Jones, he's really not done a whole lot. Well, their offense has scored 163 points. They're number 2 right now in the entire NFL for offensive scores. So that's impressive to me. I look at their defense. They actually are pretty highly rated on the defensive side too, John. They've given up 89 total points. Daniel Jones is 71% completion. But how about this? He's only got 6 touchdowns. He's only got 2 interceptions. I get it. He's also only been sacked 4 times. So it says a hell of a lot about his offensive line, what those guys are able to do for him. I think he's starting to show people that maybe it just wasn't in the right place when he got drafted and when he was with the Vikings last year and all the rest of it. But his command of the game with help from Jonathan Taylor at running back, John, who's averaging 5.5 or a little over 5 yards a carry, I would say, and he's almost at 500 yards. I would say you look at that and a quarterback who throws to his tight end. If you throw to your tight end, he's their leading catcher right now, and that's Tyler Warren, John, the kid from Penn State, the tight end, big
number
kid. Number one pick for them. He's already got over 300 yards. So I think a quarterback that understands that tight ends are always open are always going to do pretty well, and Daniel Jones has figured it out. So I'm going to go with the Colts.
I'm going to go with the Bills, Pete. I don't need to belabor it. I think those Jaguars are pretty interesting right now, too.
Yep.
And that linebacker, Lloyd, that had the 99-yard interception against
great.
Mahomes. Oh, my. That kid is fast and strong, and I don't know how you stop a guy like that. But he just ran away from people on that interception, too, Pete.
That was awesome.
It was pretty incredible. All right. What do you got for college football, Pete?
All right, so there's a lot of teams that are still undefeated and a lot of teams who haven't really played a very difficult schedule, and this is one of them. But the more I've watched them play, John, I'm impressed because I'm going to say Texas Tech is a 5-0 team right now, right? They are ranked and all the rest of it. These guys haven't played a lot of stiff competition except for one. They beat up on Utah, who was actually playing really good very early on or whatever, and they beat up on them. But, you think of Texas Tech, you always think about, wow, this great offensive machine. These guys, that's what they do for a living is these guys do nothing but score points and, they break records, which is oftentimes true. And it's even true this year. So they have the top offense in yards per game in all of college football. Not so bad. Their defense on the other side of the ball is number 4 in points allowed. How about that? So you start looking at that. Then you look at the passing offense. They are number 1 in all of college football. So you start looking at these numbers and they start stacking up on the offensive side, but on the defensive side as well. They're number 10 in total yardage given up, total. I mean, everywhere I look, they're number 2 in yards on the rushing. They stop people. They hold people to less than 60 yards a game, John. How about that? 60 yards rushing a game. So looking at what they've got in front of them, they've got 3 maybe difficult games left. And we're only halfway through, but they've got some that they should win, some more soft ones. But Kansas, who started off the year ranked, and they're not ranked now, but Kansas, Arizona State, and BYU. Now, Arizona State and BYU are both ranked. So, and I think BYU is still undefeated. So it's going to be interesting to see how this thing plays out. But Texas Tech, right now, they're better than Texas. There's no doubt about that. Maybe even Texas A&M, maybe on that side of it. But everybody wants to be the biggest thing in Texas. Houston's not there. Texas is not there. It's going to be pretty interesting to see how far Texas Tech can go before they have a loss, if they have a loss.
Well, I'll throw out a couple stats to you, Pete. Number 1, points scored, 243 points so far this year. That's 48 plus per game. You're scoring 48 points. You're not losing games. Obviously, they haven't. And as you point out, they've got some tougher competition coming up, but Utah is pretty damn tough.
Yeah.
Second one, how about this? The points allowed, 11. So if you're scoring almost 50 and only allowing 11, you're going to win a lot of football games. I'm sure I'm going to get quoted forever on that. But that is a fact. In other words, a very staunch, tough defense. Only 11 points a game. I mean, anytime you hold a team under 20, you should win. And they're holding them under 12. So, yeah, they're going to win. Now, if they can do that against Arizona State, like you said, and BYU, Pete, they're going to prove themselves to be a worthy opponent for anybody in the college football playoffs, because they are the real deal right now. 5-0, 2-0 in the Big 12. I like it, and I think they go far.
Yeah, they're fun to watch, and they've done a lot of great things. Obviously, they have money. I mean, that's one of the keys to college sports today. I had a meeting yesterday with a head coach of a very successful college team here in Minnesota, and we were talking for a long time, and he was just telling me, he goes, "Hey, man, it comes down to money when it's all said and done. You gotta have some money to be able to compete with these guys." And there's a lot of truth to that. And that's how the game is changing. And I heard Saban the other day talking about this. He said if he had to and he was coming in today, he'd go to the NFL anyway. He'd just say the heck with it, because college football has really changed with money and the portal and all the rest of it. But you just got to flow with whatever it is. And that's what these guys are doing. Texas Tech knows how to raise money. They do a really good job of that.